that all the time.
Yeah.
Every day, all day. As soon as you turn on the television, you're like, haha, it's Hillary Clinton or it's Barack. Oh, this is good. I like this. And you're just drilling slowly that thought into your brain just as hard as you fucking can, so that you don't have to feel like that you agreed with a redneck almost a little bit in the privacy of your own home and no one knew. So that you don't have to feel that way.
See, I gotta deal with that shit. So you don't have to look yourself in the mirror and be like, I agreed with Cletus.
Right,
I'm
right.
dirty.
Right. And then after that, after you have stage 10, you're like better, because eventually you'll go outside and you'll be like, fuck, his lawnmower is so much nicer than my lawnmower. Like, I want to use his lawnmower instead. And you'll just say it. You'll just, for material reasons, my lawnmower broke. For material reasons, you will eventually say the words just to avoid having your quality of life suffer, to just be in constant conflict with all the fucking chuds around you. You will eventually say the words. You'll be like, I guess, like maybe one thing that Trump did. Let me think. Fuck. He said war is stupid. He said war is stupid, and those kids are idiots. So he's the most anti-war president we've ever had. And they look at you kind of funny, but they're just so
He
happy.
said war. He said war is stupid, and then immediately gave him money.
Yeah, yeah. He totally didn't do anything that he said like ever at all. Like, what was somebody tempted it about?
But I thought
Temp-
he doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know what he's doing,
no,
except when it
right,
comes
right.
to doing evil shit.
Yeah,
All right,
but no,
let
you'll eventually say it.
me just update
One day.
the stream title and everything and the stream info, and we'll get this thing moving. All right.
All right, what's our subject?
Our subject is lobbing bombs. We're gonna be lobbing some
I
bombs
wouldn't.
tonight.
I don't know. I wouldn't put that.
Yeah, I guess.
I wouldn't just put that as that. Maybe that maybe not be the best idea.
You don't think that I should tell Twitch that we're going to be detonating
Oh
incendiary
yeah, you can.
devices?
Oh yeah, yeah. You
You
can tell
don't think
Twitch
that
that.
I should put that on Facebook?
But I'm just saying they might take that shit down.
Yeah, yeah.
Hold on, I'm just getting ready to shout outs ready in the show description. This better update properly. I think it normally does.
Right, right.
If not, I'm just going to take the stream down and fire it back up. So, people know, like, stay tuned. Inbound.
Our
Okay.
adoring but non-existent public.
You know what? We got like 5.
We're
Yeah.
getting them.
Yeah. The thing is, like,
Got 'em.
Getting them.
our public is dedicated. Who else? Who threw that
They're,
like?
they're the kind of they're the kind of psychos like us that are gonna force their friends to fucking have whatever they just heard in their brain too. They're gonna be like, man, I just heard this really fucked up communist podcast, and you have to listen to it so that somebody knows what it is except for me, just like us. That's how our fans are. It's gonna work
Hang
Bro,
out.
with
have you seen this
556.
shit?
Yeah, have you seen this shit? Because I feel like I'm the only one that's seen this shit, and it's like I don't like that feeling. That's gotta go.
All right. So, yeah, what we're going to do, that should be updating. All streams go with a title, change it here. Yeah. All right, so we're going to kick the stream off just for a second, and then we're going to start the real show. Let's start the show. Now you can't stop us, motherfuckers. Now you can't. Interruptions. Hey, gang, happy Friday. Communism will win. I don't know if communism will win. I still think it's going to
all,
be
all
new
hell glorious Lord.
anarcho-communism.
All
I
hell
like
glorious Lord communism.
I like
Glorious
to
Lord
say
communism.
I like to say communism will win to people that it hurts their feelings. Like I like to
I,
wield that phrase as a
Yeah.
fucking weapon, like
I
an
mean
asshole.
you got two choices. You got communism and you got doom.
It'll
Like
be first. It'll be B and then A.
Yeah, a lot
Yeah.
of B.
All
A
right.
lot of B.
So
I was born in some shitty video game where I couldn't figure out what all the monsters were weak to for decades of my life until I found, oh, they hate communism. God, it
Yeah.
was right there in front of me the whole fucking time.
You throw
That's
so
it.
you
They tell you.
True tries to punch unspeakable, invisible, ethereal horror
Yeah.
of corruption and rot.
Rotting corruption at the fucking Imperial core.
Surprisingly, does no damage.
Does no damage. Whole police station explodes. It's still, he's still there. Oh, communism. Oh,
He's got a gun.
They tell
Sir,
you.
that's my wallet.
They
All
tell
right.
you. They tell you right here in the manual. The evil one hates communism.
All right, all
It
right, all
says it all
right,
the time.
all right. God damn. All right. God damn. All right. First, I do want to start off with shout outs this time. I want to give a shout out. You know what? I want to give a shout out to XX Kember because they're feeling lonely tonight. I want to give a shout out to North Star 717 still for joining an org and being our fans. So don't insult North Star. Okay. Somebody actually likes us, so you owe them a thank you at the very least. Say thank you. Come on, boys.
Oh,
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah, we got one fan.
Thank you, sir.
And you know it's not my mom because she hates my work.
Sir, ma'am.
It's ma'am.
Shout out Oreo.
Yeah, the you know what I gotta say, the communist ladies are loving us. You know why? Because we're part of the actual feminists, and part of that is of course, you know,
Pointing out their bullshit.
yeah, well, pointing out capitalist bullshit, maybe not doing a perpetual sexism. Yeah, just the simple stuff. The simple shit the ladies like.
Occasional steps with sexism.
The sexism we do is like the world is meant for Mackenzie Bezos, and we all suffer as a result of it. You
I'm
know,
gonna. I'm
which
gonna just.
And how?
if you consider that sexism, you're a rich bitch. Fuck you.
I'm gonna. I'm gonna.
Bomb.
I'm gonna.
Bomb number
Petty
one.
rich bitch.
Pin thrown. Oh, boom. Hit the target. Fuck yeah. Ready for bomb number two. All right.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
Dan
Okay.
Cohen. I'm joined by Gangstacleese and True. Say hello.
Hey, hello, guys.
Hello.
If you've been watching for a while, you know who's who. If you haven't, too bad. Now's not the night for introductions. I
I'm
gotta
keeping it gangster.
I gotta shit all over two of my co-hosts because they're not here to defend themselves.
Uh-oh.
So
I didn't see this coming at
That
all.
was all risk.
yeah, yeah. It's not like I talked about doing this in the pre-show for 10 minutes. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of background, and I'm gonna be as charitable as I fucking can to the positions of John and Cenk, respectively, which is modern psychiatry does work in certain circumstances. B, um, that mental health services are a critical part in regulating violence. Those are two of their theses, which
Whoa. What was that second one?
mental
You're
health
missing me there.
services are critical in regulating violence, and I actually I want to severely push back on that. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, let's get into
yeah,
it. Let's go.
yeah. All right, so I'm gonna lob this bomb, and then later I think we're gonna try to set up a formal debate, and I will go 2v1 with one of you guys refereeing. Okay.
Okay.
All right, because that might be fun, especially because I haven't busted out my debate chops in a while. But this isn't about me, God damn it. Well, it is kind of.
Sometimes.
Yeah, only sometimes.
I'm not like a huge sports guy. The referee is the guy that like waits for a while and then he hits one of the other person with a chair, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the sports I
Maybe
usually
both.
watch.
Maybe both.
In the
Yeah.
sports that I usually watch, the referee is pretty fucking awesome. So like I would do that. That sounds fine.
All right, good.
Let's get it on.
So here it is. Here's the bomb. Mental health under liberal democratic capitalism is a bit of a fucking joke. Okay, and here's why. If we take what is mental health, it is an amorphous, reified fucking term that describes, as far as I can see, right? They apply mental health to a couple different situations. The first is obvious. If you're suffering physical brain deformity, injury, or death, that falls under the amorphous term mental health services, right? And I use the schizophrenic as the classic
Yeah.
argument. The schizophrenic actually does have brain death. Part of their brain is not alive as it would be in what we would consider a healthy brain. So the schizophrenic does need mental health services. Their brains aren't working properly, unfortunately. There's really no way at this point in juncture to regrow those parts of the brain and turn it into a healthy brain. So we need some sort of management service and care service, right? That's reasonable.
Yeah,
Some kind, anything. Do
probably
something.
Yeah.
it's probably still below 50% of the population that would argue for just eugenics. Even though I do see a lot of posts that are
Oh, I
just
feel like
like
it'd be way than that.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
90%. Everybody in
It's
population
pretty bad.
argues.
They don't realize they're doing it.
Side bomb. I'm gonna throw a secondary bomb right now. Pretty much everybody in society, us included, argues for some kind of fucking eugenics. They just don't know it. They just
Yeah.
haven't thought it out. Eugenics is so
We
pervasive. It is an
I mean,
American institution.
what qualifies it? Just like a specific group instead of a random group?
Yeah, really, that's what it boils down to. Which group you want you fucking to undergo
Yeah.
the process of eugenics and
Well, you
fucking
don't have to get
purification.
rid of them. You can just put them to work.
Yeah, that's the nice way of putting it. But yeah,
what if you got too many of them though, and like they just keep crossing the border, this won't fucking stop, and then you send your
That's why they put us into the Lord of the Flies
you
slash
send
Battle Royale.
yeah. All right.
you send your lady that everybody's hot for out there to tell them, look, don't fucking come, but they keep coming, like
But then they realize, oh wait, we need people buying stuff for stuff.
yeah,
Oh,
That's
yeah,
it.
we
I guess
probably
you can use
shouldn't
it
do
for
that.
Now
Shouldn't use it for that.
here's the second form of mental health services, right? The classic Freudian neurotic on the couch. And I sometimes when I was writing this down today and thinking about it, right? It also takes the forms of like the narcissist, the sociopath, and the fucking deviant pervert, right? The real fucking pervert. And for the pervert, you can substitute addict. It's pretty much the same thing, right? All those things are conditions of personality, and those are all socialized into you.
yeah,
Even to some degree, I'm going to make a real fucking bomb, right? Because we always talk about certain things as if they're genetic and inherent. Yet, you can find the same leftist about 2 tweets down saying, without fucking irony or without realization of paradox, shit like gender and race are social constructs. Now, which the fuck is it, right? I'm going to I'm going to argue all this shit is a social construct and it is all socialized,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, and the question is if it's a useful construct or a
But
valid construct.
actually, that's
yeah,
not the question here. With all due respect to you, because I think you're going to
Okay.
agree with me, but that's not the question presented to us right now. The question is are these things which we call personality disorders actually afflictions of the subject, or are they afflictions of society that produces subjects of this quality?
No,
Right?
See, I
yeah, I mean,
serious.
there's that.
There's an awful lot of motherfuckers that call it a completely diseased society, and then be shocked when someone living in it has a disease.
Yes.
Oh,
I see
what's the
what you're
quote?
saying.
Be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
No measure of good health, something like that.
yeah.
Is the neurotic actually ill, or is that the neurotic's personality, which was manufactured due to the pressures and fucking stimuli of the system the neurotic lives in? I.e., is the system the problem?
I gotta
That's
say, I fantasized about getting fired for a long time. I had a
Well,
little stash.
they feel like they solved it if you can hold a job and I don't know, get up in the morning. That's basically it.
right,
Like
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's a
right.
very low bar. It's a
That's cor-
very low bar.
but that's the bar to be hit, isn't it? If you can get the subject back to work.
Yep.
Hmm.
If you can make the subject useful to the system again, keep that in mind. Because when I finally pitch the bomb, right? When I finally lob this motherfucker, you will see what I'm talking about if you have that in your head,
Yep.
right?
Bomberman,
The point of
Bomberman.
psychiatry, the other half of mental health services, not just the inpatient care for anything from an Alzheimer's patient, dementia patient to a schizophrenic, somebody with an actual brain disformity, disfigurement, or destruction. Yeah, depression is the depressive, the manic depressive, even mania and depression, what the classic forms of bipolarism, right? That's all. See, the chats with me. Those are social illnesses. I contest very heavily that those are not mental illnesses. Those are logical responses to a system that produces depressives, maniacs, fucking neurotics, sociopaths, narcissists. That's what our society produces en masse. Everybody is pathological then. Can't
Yeah.
everybody can't be pathological. Everybody can't
Yeah,
simultaneously
and
be sick.
they're finding interesting links from certain mental illnesses and your diet.
Yes.
And you
But
So
can't.
just by starving people, you're creating mental illness.
yes, the system is creating it, right? Now let's move to my favorite subject, the incel.
Yeah.
Now let's move on to the
Oh
big
boy,
boy. The
here we go.
incel, The incel's an interesting case, isn't it? Because the incel goes through steps. The incel starts as somebody who was promised something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Society, implicitly or explicitly, promised them something. In the case of the incel, they promised them power because of their masculinity. They promised
Yeah.
them women because of their masculinity. They promised
Yeah.
them sexual activity, money, and wealth and privilege.
Yeah.
The incel gets none of
To be
these things.
king of your little castle in your home.
To
Yeah.
be the boss. Yes.
Yep.
And they get none of it. So the incel turns inwards. The incel is a neurotic that turns inwards and begins rigorous self criticism on physical material issues: my nose, my ears, my eyes, my face, my stench, my gait, my
Yeah.
my posture, everything. Rigorous and brutal and vicious self criticism and self questioning.
Mm.
Then the incel takes those attitudes and accuses society of lying to them, and then society has lied to them. They are subpar and subhuman. So now that we have this lying society, right? We have this externalized enemy. We went from the internal antagonist, the self, to the external antagonist, society. Then some of them have a predisposition towards approving violence, right? And that's an awful lot of them go, yeah, Elliot Rogers was great. Look what he did, right? And then what do some of them do? They take the next step. They try to be Elliot Rogers. They try to be the violent incel. They
Ops.
replicate the violence. Cops are different.
No, I was just being. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, no, they're getting pussy because they rape people, um, which is disgusting on its own. But that's the reality of it, right?
Yeah.
No holds barred
Yeah.
right now. I don't have anybody holding me back.
Yeah,
No.
they could. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's let them free.
Let's let's let the man theorize.
Oh, hey,
So
is that the beast? Is that the beast? Let's feed him.
yeah, it'll be fine. Stoke those flames. So
But you guys, the conclusions are going to be sad, though. Maybe you
Oh,
should
I'll be
stop,
so sad.
guys.
so what do we have in the
This
incel,
is
right?
making me uncomfortable.
You want to get back to it. Remember, what was the point of psychiatry? To get your ass back to work,
Yeah.
right? What do
Yeah.
we have in the incel? We have a deviation from societal norms so dramatic that it commits violence.
Hmm.
Now let me lob the next bomb. You ready? The incel
Hmm.
terrorist, the Nazi terrorist, the anarchist, and the communist, both who at least advocate violent revolution, right? You have the jihadist, you have the Christian fundamentalist, you have the Jewish fundamentalists, you have the black supremacists, you have the equivalent of Latino supremacy, right?
Wouldn't those be concluded with combined with the Nazis and fascists though?
No, not necessarily. That doesn't necessarily mean they went to fascism. You can be a supremacist without
Well, I mean,
fascism. It
you don't
certainly
need all the
helps.
traits. You don't need all the traits, but you can have a couple of the
Well,
traits.
yeah, but that's
So you
more
just create
authoritarianism.
create a group and just shove them to the side, make it easy.
But here's the point: liberal
It's
democratic
more like
capitalism.
Monopoly than Trivial Pursuit.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
All right. Hey,
You just need a couple monopolies. You
all
don't
right.
have to
Rein it
have
in.
like
Rein it
all.
So
in.
they're
Rein it
Park
in, damn.
Place.
Rein it in, damn it. So if you notice, I list a bunch of left and far more right-wing ideologies, but I list a bunch of left-wing
Yeah. Yeah.
ideologies in there because liberal democratic capitalism considers all of those things terrorist ideologies, right?
Yeah. Yeah. With updated notes on that, with a
Except when
nice
they do
new.
it. Except when they do it.
Well, exactly. Except when they do it, that's critical. That's critical. Again, keep that in mind also. So when you start putting those points together, right? Any ideology that promotes or sanctions violence against the system, any personality deviation from the liberal democratic capitalist ideal, any physical deformity, right? What do we have?
That they never asked to be in the first place.
Yeah.
Well, nobody ever asked for it. Nobody asked for capitalism. That's not how it works these days. You're just born into it. But that's the point. Think about it for a second. Again, what's the through line? These are all deviations from the liberal democratic capitalist ideal. So mental health is used to wash a type of eugenics. Mental health in liberal democratic capitalism is used to weed out social undesirables.
Yeah.
Rejecting the system, that's the ideology. Um, malformity of the personality in their eyes, or AKA the individual personality that is deviant from the willing participant in capitalism, or somebody actually suffering a brain injury, right? Injury or death.
Yeah.
Those things are all deviations from the idealized norm. Those are all the things demonized, and they lump those all in as mental health issues.
I think in the example you give, the specific terrorist that you
The
use.
issue is you.
The
Well,
issue is you. It's not the
we all
system.
we all work with these guys, and I think they're already busted for months before. Sometimes nothing violent happens, but if something violent does happen, they're already busted for months or years before that. There's sexual harassment complaints. There's just general harassment complaints. They're already not in a productive work environment. They're not producing like they should be. They're already busted as a
Well,
component of
wait a
capitalism
minute.
for a while before the
Wait a minute.
terrorist thing happened.
Wait a minute. The sexual harasser can
It depends, yeah.
absolutely produce. The sexual harasser can own capital. If you notice, sexual harassment is one of those quote unquote deviancies that fits well within the norms because that person is productive. That's not a
I get what you're
deviation
saying.
from the system. In fact, I would argue the sexual harasser loves going to work because you have a
Yeah.
pool of targets
Yeah.
that you may
It's
have
like
power
American
over.
Psycho in there.
I
Yeah.
mean, like, maybe I'm imagining it, but I would swear that 2 decades ago, at any given job, I wasn't up to my neck in dudes that just literally could not say anything around other employees without people being like, "Well, that was fucked up," or like, "Why did that guy say that?" Like, I'm presuming that that's this crowd. I could be wrong, but I, I think it's maturing into something.
I
Even before there's any violence, it's already not productive in the workplace. If you work with a guy that's like, "Oh, what a bunch of Stacys," or whatever, like, who are you talking about? And it's just regular ass people. That's already fucking with me, like,
Yeah,
hard.
I just find it hilarious that like they're trying to find a way to remove the incels from everybody else, all the other undesirables,
Right,
so
They're
they
right.
can
not.
try to so they can
They're
so they
not.
can
No, they're not. They're trying to lump them in with us
yeah,
Yeah.
because they're
they're trying to lump them in with us and then remove them.
This is
Oh
this
no,
is
they're not
just
trying to
another
remove them. They're
motherfucker.
trying to remove the collective all of us. Because all of us, no matter whether or not we think the grievance of the incel,
But the joke of it is that you're talking a ton of
yeah,
Yeah, oh yeah.
I am talking a ton of people.
and then they're just gonna be selective about it and just pick, oh, okay, well let's just not go after them, which means they're not picking them.
No,
It's
but
like the early days of the drug laws. If everybody was just had pot, just like it was legal yesterday. Now it's illegal. Oh shit.
They'll sit there
they
and watch these fucking incels go all the way, like all the way to touching the stove, and then when they
Oh
touch the
yeah.
stove, be like, that's too far.
His fucking handler will be telling him, "Aren't you mad at the Stacys?" and shit. I mean,
Meanwhile,
they
you
don't
got a
fucking
whole group of
care.
them meanwhile, you got a whole group of them on the side, like, touch the stove, touch the stove.
well
Yeah,
again, that is because mental health under capitalism is a eugenicist function. It is
yeah,
the point of it is to rehabilitate social undesirables or eliminate social undesirables from the pool,
yeah,
one or the other. And this is why they rely so heavily on law enforcement as a mental health organization. That's why they couple those things so dramatically because they view any ideology that just doesn't blindly accept the joys of capitalism
No,
as
they view it as a
fucking
weapon.
deviant. No, they don't view it as a weapon. They view it as a deviancy. It is the same thing to them as pick your favorite rancid awful trait. Sexual harasser is a good one. They view it the same
yeah.
way. And the difference
It's
is,
all the traits the rich people do.
yes, all the
Like
ones they
there's,
actually do, but they have to externalize those pathologies because they are the norm of capitalism. They have
I
to
see what
externalize their own pathology.
I see what you mean about the self-confident sexual harasser versus the no confidence incel. The self-confident sexual harasser, you can eventually appeal to him. whether he starts out on the right, like Brett Kavanaugh, pounding beers and being like, fuck the system, call me Barf Kavanaugh, or whatever the fuck in that asshole's book, and like,
Yeah.
chasing people around on the beach and shit. Whether you start out like Kavanaugh or whether you start out like Beto O'Rourke, fuck the system, I'm gonna fucking skateboard, do a fucking 720 at the fucking punk concert. Woohoo! It either side of the equation that you start out on, those guys both eventually got rounded up and appealed to by Capitol. They eventually fucking bent the knee. Like
Yes.
the broad grouping you're talking about here is people that they don't think they can even fucking appeal to, or it ain't worth the effort.
Right. They don't view them as worth the effort. They are unworthy. They are, ready, without merit.
Yep, there you go.
Meritocracy. All this shit
There it
ties in.
is.
You can distill
Oh boy.
distill capitalism down into these fucking ideas, man. It just takes time because there's so many fucking layers, right? Now let me
Yep.
lob a real fucking bomb. Okay? The left we have in fucking America. The leftists do not give a fuck about terms like happiness, trauma, or fucking care. You
Mhm.
can tell a liberal, even if they are very well meaning, if they're worried about those things.
Yeah.
And I know
What
that's
was the list again? Second that list.
there's happiness, trauma, and care. Because
Ha ha
that's
ha.
all. That is the measurement of liberalism.
Yeah.
This is one of the mind prisons we all have to get out of. Fuck knows I've been guilty of it.
Yeah. Oh
Well,
yeah.
God knows I've been guilty of it. Man, when I'm fucking working today, I was like, shit. This is what the good doctor's talking about. This is what it is. This is a fucking mind prison. Now, in defense of Dr. Frowley, she is not co-signing any of this. This is my study and read of the material. I want to make that very clear. Don't demonize
Yeah.
that poor woman because of my mouth. All
Yeah.
right, she's
Yeah.
smarter than me. So, anywho, let's go. Let's go down the rabbit hole. Right? What the fuck? First off, the idea that any and all trauma is inherently fucking to be avoided at all costs is consumerist culture.
Yeah.
In the olden days, your ass used to be traumatized on a near daily basis. Something went wrong. And the point of it was to steel yourself against it, to be able to overcome that trauma. It was to strengthen you as a person. You were supposed to get more, I hate to go Nietzschean on this, but you were supposed to gain a will to power because you could deal with shit. Doesn't mean it was always good. Doesn't mean you didn't have a right to grieve or to mourn or to feel a little bit of self pity. But the point was the trauma was there. It was your job to exercise your brain to be able to cope with it, to be able to handle it and move on to what must be done. Because the old leftist projects were about human liberation. Now we're all about managing care, right? I went on a spiel on this about
Oh,
Twitter a little
oh
while
well,
ago.
I feel like if you were like extremely rich and privileged, you'd be so cut off from any kind of trauma or adrenaline or pressure of any kind that
And
you'd be like looking for some kind of replacement for all that adrenaline. I wonder how
well,
many babies you would need if you were super rich to get a nice replacement for that adrenaline.
Well, think about this. Why are we on the left so focused about eliminating trauma when eliminating the struggles of life and eliminating all that shit has always been the bourgeoisie's goal, that they don't have to suffer because they can offload it elsewhere in a zero-sum game. That's not the
And it,
leftist position. That's an inherently deeply conservative, deeply capitalist position.
but it makes them it makes they aren't even that's the thing that always gets me is they aren't even fucking happy and everybody can they have to suck the fucking pineal glands out of
Ah,
fucking newborn babies in order to be happy.
aha. Why are we always on the search for happiness? Happiness is an ephemeral drug addict quality. That's what
Yep.
they're all searching to feel good. That is
Yep.
consumerism to be pathologized.
elitism high.
Yes,
Like, what is that fucking bald prick gonna do after he gets back from space? Like, go fuck a volcano? Like, what,
gonna have
what is
to.
that fucking asshole gonna do after that?
There's nothing. There's nothing left at that point unless he keeps
Just,
going.
He's gonna do what they do. He's gonna get a
You know,
yacht that consumes his yacht that consumes a mansion
just go, just
and
go
a yacht.
pull, just go pull. You're done, buddy. Just go. You're finished at that point. Just go out like a champ. Just
no, but
fucking do a
yeah,
little, do a little, do
It'd
a
be
little.
like a freaking villain's lair, like a super villain's lair, is what they
Right.
what they do.
But
right
no,
when you break Atmo, go ahead and do a little David Carradine, give it a shot. Like right as you're breaking the fucking bonds of the Earth's gravity. Just,
My dude's like, you motherfuckers can't get me. I'm in space.
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So
Let's knock one out right over the controls. I
happiness
mean, it's dangerous, but
happiness is the negation of fucking trauma. You're supposed to avoid pain and gain pleasure. That's very basic capitalist fucking formulations. That's very base utilitarianism. The basis of
just
capitalism. Seek pleasure, avoid pain. Seek gain, avoid loss. That's what that is. That's the fundamental thing. That's fucking polluting our minds.
And
And
then
then,
just
of
right back
course,
into the sexual religious.
yeah. Oh God, yeah.
I am becoming
It's
a
just
little bit
so
more religious by sheer accident. I'm going to
well.
ride it out. I like it.
Yeah, yeah. It's you know you
No, it
after
fits. It all fits. It's you're right. It's interconnected.
you
About the
need to
human
be able
spirit at that point.
you don't really necessarily need uh the mono deity so that you can look up in the air and be like, oh fuck you, and shake your fist. You don't necessarily need that
They
part.
never had a mono deity. They had a trinity that turned into an infinity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's now for sure.
Don't obsess over that part too much right now. We're working on
Yeah, it's
we're
not.
wor-
It's not really that
we're working
worthwhile.
we're working on the real goddamn bomb.
Yeah.
And this is the guilt. This is the bullshit we communists have fucking absorbed from the anarchists, who absorbed it right from the fucking liberals, right from dad.
Oh boy.
Care. This obsession with care, mutual aid. Mutual aid is their fancified trying to break free the bonds version of care. This
I
this
liked Metal Gear
yeoman shit.
Solid's take on it. I like Metal Gear Solid's take on it, which is at what point of replacing the functions of the thing that you're replacing do you become that thing?
Yeah.
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 Well, we communists and anarchists are certainly guilty of it.
Oh yeah. I mean, I like the one I always think about, and this is the thing that haunts me, is I live in, a small town down here, and all you have to do to see people that are fucked is drive around.
Oh
Like
yeah.
during the
You don't even have to
pandemic,
go far. You can go
no,
right outside.
they're right the fuck there. During the pandemic, like there was like tents popping up in the woods and shit. And even just regular people that are fucked for like, a couple hours, like their car's fucked or something. Like I'm in a perpetual hurry to get from work to wherever the fuck I'm going. And it isn't that I don't have to, I might could make a couple hours to bail some asshole out, but it's the spread of all the possibility of afterwards. Of like, I
Yeah,
mean,
you wanna
I'm
you
not
wanna
so
be
much like,
effective. You wanna be effective with your time, you don't wanna like
yes,
just
I'm
like
not even,
throw it away on the first opportunity when you could have like solved it for like millions.
yeah, right. Like I don't want to be like the old white reactionary that doesn't want to pick up a hitchhiker. I'm not saying that. I'm saying like, what if the hitchhiker's nice too? Like, what am I gonna do? Like, am I gonna drive this guy over to work to get a fucking application? I have 3 minutes to be at work.
And
I
it does
have an
pay.
energy drink in one hand. I have 2 cigarettes clutched between the fingers of my other hand, and I have 400 milligrams of ibuprofen in my fucking palm. And I need to fucking swallow this shit and drink this energy drink and not get ashes in my eyes so that I have enough nicotine in my fucking body to not spit in the security guard's face when he scans my forehead like I'm a fucking cow
Yeah.
going into this motherfucker. And I drive past every day and I'll be home and I'll be like, okay, it's not that important. You're going to leave the house early. You're going to cut a little time out of your life and your family's lives and all this shit. And then you will be able to. But no, fuck no. Ground down to that last 3 minutes every single time. Every
Mhm.
single fucking time. And you see the
They get you
motherfucker.
they get you in the way coming in the door. It's fucking
Yeah,
wage theft.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta
You
Oh,
walk to the
can't.
time clock, which is in the building. Like, come on,
oh,
bro.
In
please,
order to
please
really
don't
have
spoil the
solidarity.
ending, kids.
In
Don't
order to.
spoil the ending. Dan's got a
In
whole
order to.
rant on
Okay,
that.
okay,
All
But in
right.
order
okay.
to really have solidarity, I would have to be like, fuck the job every single time that I saw a motherfucker who was fucked off and needed for me to stop. I would have to go tell my boss that I was late every day because haven't you looked out your window, you fucking asshole? The town is fucked.
You'd never be able to go to work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
never.
All right. So the next thing I'm going to attack, and this is one of those sacred cows, but I'm going to do it, and I swear to God I'm being earnest. And I'm going to try to give an alternate way of thinking about it that's worked for me, that's gotten my ass up off the seat. All right.
Yeah.
The next one is care.
Yeah.
The notion of care, that we have to care for other people, we have to care for ourselves, self-care. We have to always be worrying about how we're caring. All
Workers
right?
don't care.
I'm going to lob a fucking bomb. Ready? That is no different than welfare. And welfare is a substitution for dignity. That is a
Bingo.
conservative point they have accidentally arrived at being correct. Because capitalism knows what they are doing is robbing you of human dignity and human existence.
Yeah.
They do it in a myriad of
That's
ways.
just like them. They give you the bare minimum back. Like here's a little dignity, like
There's no dignity in it. What they're doing is saying, yeah,
a dignity
you are
dignity
worth
light.
nothing, but here's enough to keep you alive so that you can be reminded of your nothingness.
Yeah.
And
Crystal dignity.
and this is my problem with Spoontown. All right? The apex liberal that Ms. Spoonie is. This is my
Yeah.
beef. This obsession with care is a type of, when you hear the phrase internalized whatever, right?
Yeah.
Internalized white supremacy, internalized inferiority due to disability, right? I'm
They
going to use
care
that
that
latter one.
do they really care that as a black person you're inferior
They're
in their fucking
banking on
minds?
it.
In their fucking minds?
They're
Is that what
banking
they
on it.
care about?
But this is one of those talking points I actually do agree with the liberals on, because liberals want to internalize that in you.
Yeah. Yeah.
They want you to have it internalized because it benefits them. That benefits Ted Cruz. That benefits Nancy Pelosi. That benefits Jeff Bezos. If you internalize it, you've done what you were supposed to do.
Yeah.
So, of course, there's these internalized problems, and we have to overcome them. And how they tell you, what they tell you to do is manage them by perpetually worrying about care. Did I care
Yeah.
enough? We, d- somebody had said,
Ugh,
I think
enough kente cloth?
it was, yeah,
Yeah.
it was fucking Albert Brooks while debating Richard Wolff that socialists despise charity. Goddamn right we do. You're supposed to exist in a dignified way, from each according to their own ability. You're supposed to be able to do as much as you possibly can, and not more. You're supposed to do what you possibly can, right?
It's a completely unseen reality. Like every living human walking around with basic dignity and just like being their best self and contributing to like whatever's going on around them. Nobody's ever seen it.
From
Like
You
it's a
can't.
complete
from each
yeah.
according to their ability to each according to from each to me, motherfucker. That's
To
what it is.
me.
Yeah, that's liberalism. From each according to their ability, to me according to my needs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
According to
that's
my
liberalism.
merit.
But think about that.
According to my big fat merit.
Robbery. It's a
They
robbery.
they accuse us. They accuse us of being perpetually negative because we're critics of the current system. But from
Mhm.
each according to their ability, I don't know if there is a more positive statement. You will do
No.
exactly as much as you can do, and that's all that is required of you. That is what we
Yeah.
expect out of you. That's
Yeah.
two sides of the same coin. You are to do for society what can be done, what you
We're
can
not gonna
contribute. And that
we're not gonna
contribution is validating. That is your dignity. That is your self worth. That is your measurement of respect. To
yeah.
each according to their needs, there's your care. But it's not care. It's because of you being a dignified human, a human worthy of respect, and a human who contributes to humanity in the way that you
Yeah.
can. You will not, I don't want to say you'll go without, because obviously I would kill to have Russell Brand's career, and I'm going to go without that, right? But I have my modest little level of success here. We all do. That's something to be
Yeah.
proud of.
Yeah.
We
It's
get
nice.
what money we can out of it. We get the food.
Nice.
We are supposed to get clothing. We're supposed to get those needs taken care of because that's the exchange. What's this? And this is rampant in the disability community. It's a rampant fucking internalized ableism, as they like to call it. That's their favorite fucking word. But it's a
Yeah.
lack of our dignity. It's our dignity robbed of us because our bodies don't fit the liberal
Yeah.
democratic capitalist fucking ideal.
And as soon as
Bullshit.
if you took the fucking gun off the back of everybody's head, you figure out what you're good at real fast. People will help you because nobody's got the gun on the back of their fucking head anymore. I We're not gonna watch. We're not gonna sit here and watch somebody do something that they're not good at that's hurting them for their whole fucking life when they could just do something else. We're not fucking capitalists, okay?
Right.
We're not gonna watch that foul, obscene shit play out. because we don't like it. We don't like to see it. We don't love to see it.
Right. And here's the problem, right? In that fucking community, you go talk to these motherfuckers like Spoontown and all that shit. And we're all guilty of it. Again, I cannot stress enough, in the past, I have been guilty of engaging this
Yeah.
shit in a positivist, affirming way. I renounce that right now. Because
Yeah.
here's the thing. It robs you of your fucking dignity when they talk about, "Well, you gotta do self-care, you gotta do care, the implicit statement is you're clearly inferior because you have some sort of a disability, so you can only do what you can. That's
Yeah.
fucking humanizing. The
Yeah.
Marxist should not. That should not be the Marxist expectation. The Marxist expectation is you're you. This is what your body will allow you to do.
Yeah.
So you're going to do that. Yeah, I'm not asking for more. I expect no less. You're going to do what you can do as a human with dignity who deserves that dignity
Yeah.
and the fucking
I mean,
benefits that you bring to
it's far
society.
more fair than what they're giving them now.
And
Yeah,
if you keep getting fired from being an Uber driver because people complain about the shit that you talk about, then you should be doing this with us and not being a fucking Uber driver then.
yeah.
That's we're not gonna make somebody do. That's the thing.
Literally
That's the
why
thing
I'm
that always
here.
bothers me. Yeah. Like that's the thing that bothers me. Like it's not nobody's gonna create a system where anybody's forced to do some shit that they fucking suck at. It's not naturally gonna come together. There's not gonna be some kind of dark future where a bunch of evil guys are victoriously rubbing their fucking hands together because they made a bunch of guys do some shit that they fucking sucked at and they hated. It's not it's comparable to what we have now. It's certainly comparable to what we have now, but
Yeah,
it's not part of being freed from the obligation to fucking work or die. It's not part of it. We're not going to be like, well, this is what you have to. It's not going to fucking happen. Nobody's going to do that. Jesus Christ. I'm
But
sorry.
if they destroy your body at work, then it's die or die.
Yeah. Then it's just
right.
die or die later or die under. Choose your death. You know, spin a merry
I
wheel.
don't know. Your healthcare was denied.
I don't know.
It
Just,
it
just
can
spin
be
a wheel.
simultaneously true that somebody like me with a fucked up back cannot lift as much as somebody
Yeah.
with a good back.
Right. It just is. It just is.
Yeah,
We're gonna
Ugh,
handcuff you.
back problems, man, that sucks.
It
back
just
problems
is.
do suck. They're fucking awful. But it's true. It is not untrue the way the disability activist kids would formulate it, that because of that fucking injury that is permanent and only unfortunately getting worse, that there's only so much I could do. But
Yeah.
there's another way to do it. There's another way to say that doesn't rob me of my fucking dignity, and that is I can do this much.
Yeah.
I can accomplish this much, so I'm going to accomplish that much. That's it.
Play a lot of.
Yeah.
You play a lot of video games. You play a lot of role playing games. You know what damage over
Hey,
time is.
motherfucker, with
I
this
would
back,
love to have.
with this back, I built a goddamn desk. I moved the
Yeah.
computer. I fucking
DPS.
have repeatedly cleaned out a goddamn pool for my kid, which every
Yeah.
fucking day it rains in this shit state. But I still clean that goddamn pool every day. I still
Take
fucking waddle my ass outside the grill. I still walk around as far as I fucking can. I'm still
take
doing
your
it.
fucking time. You do damage over time. You take your fucking
Yeah.
time. Damage over DOT works.
Right. Well, the point is that I'm doing exactly what I can, no more, no less. That's all that can be expected out of me, and that's what I have to put in. That's the Marxist formulation. It is a positive, goddammit. Stop
Yeah.
falling for the liberal bullshit. Stop sucking that down. And that doesn't mean, to be reductive for a moment, you shouldn't take care of yourself. Yeah, you absolutely should take your fucking meds. Yeah, you absolutely should do your fucking stretches. You absolutely should not torment your body. Like, that's all
Oh yes,
true.
yes. Wait a minute. Please take your meds. I
Yeah.
don't know who you are. I don't. Just take your fucking meds.
But the
It's not
point
what.
is, but the point is, you get your ass up
Please.
and you do what you can, and society owes you for doing what you could. Just like you owed society for giving you what you're going to end up needing. Them fucking meds, those fucking stretches, that chiropractic, that fucking yeah. Yeah,
Whatever you need,
chat's on
buddy.
fire. See,
We had a guy.
North
We had a
Star.
guy
By the
who
way,
was.
hold on, just one second. I'm gonna let you finish. I promise. But North
No, you're
Star.
good.
See, North Star. I'm someone who gets it. Because I've seen what North Star's been putting laying down, right? And Associated Mended Pixie. Here's another shout out. There's a couple of good Twitter people that y'all are not following, and you're fucking wrong for not doing so. And just like me, they're buying that bullshit. But that bullshit didn't rub them right. So what did they do? They got their ass up and they did something.
Yeah.
And that's all we can ask. That's the basic building block of solidarity. Is remembering that what you owe society is equivalent to what society owes you. Your outputs and your inputs. Because we're not here to fucking we're not these fucking solipsistic fucking monads who are just worried about the smell of our own fucking farts. We are human beings who exist in a goddamn society. You're welcome for the reminder, and I'll tell you what, talking to you two has definitely. I see. This is why I like talking to real people. This is why I don't fucking try to fucking dick ride stars or whatever. Right? I'm not interested in that game. I want to get to the goddamn truth. I want to get to goddamn Marxism. I want to get to the home I've never had. That's what I want.
Yeah.
All right, please continue, sir.
There was a guy that was at my last job that was so fucking funny. There was a couple of them, and one of them died. One of them died working out there. These were like the two of the funniest fucking weird old fuckers. And the one was a horrible old reactionary white man who was super racist and awful, but in like such a blundering way, it was almost like a TV writer wrote it for you to laugh about or whatever. And that dude died during the Trump presidency, and like going on these like long monologues about like the golden eagle and shit.
Hey guys,
Like,
hold the fort. I got to take care of a problem. See, doing what I can. Keep
Yeah.
going.
yeah,
Still
you're
there.
good, you're good. But this guy,
Good.
he fucking, these rants were worth money. And I was already listening to some pretty obnoxious fucking podcasts by then because it had been Trump for a couple of years. I was consuming a lot of really just unedited one take media, you know. And
Mhm.
I would listen to this guy at work and I would be like, this is worth money. But he's not gonna ever do no shit like that. And bizarrely, he started getting into the idea of having a website. Like he wanted like an Alex Jones like conspiracy theory type website. And I was telling this motherfucker, I was like, you got to do this. You got to do this. And I knew what would happen is that people would like make fun of him or like take him ironically or whatever. But he would be doing something unique and good that had value on the open market that people would seek out, listen to, and enjoy. That
Oh
was
yeah, there's
not.
all kinds of people with like all kinds of talents and
Yes.
skills and shit,
Oh my
and
God.
they can
This
do
dude was like,
amazing things, but they just like whatever. Fuck
this
'em.
dude was like sleepy redneck Alex Jones. It was incredible. And he fucking passed away while we were working there. He fucking
Yeah.
went out early on medical issues that he had picked up from working there and working other places. And it was a huge waste because he was terrible at our job. I worked with him in 2 different departments at that plant. He was fucking hysterically awful and the butt of every joke. And it's like at a certain point, I'm like, okay, they love this. Like
No.
anybody else who works here loves that this man is here, and just being like a trash fire all the time, just slouching around.
Those are the best.
Yeah, it draws all attention from any kind of flaws you might have. And then, okay, so that was sad enough. And then there's a guy still working there, I bet, because he worked there the whole time I was there. Another guy that is like an incredible like stereotype of an older conservative gentleman who is like very astute and proper and like Bill Cosby-esque and like cold and is like driven away like every normal person in his life.
When you say Bill Cosby-ish,
Like the whole world
the
needs
whole
to pull
bit,
up its
the whole
sagging
bit.
pants. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
literally evolved over time. Okay, I worked at this place for the better part of a decade. Okay, this is a person who, when you meet him first, you're like, this guy sure is mad about what the young people do, and then later you're like, oh my God, that dude was just like peeking through the racks with like a telescope at like these like young girls are working. Okay, but so it was the whole Cosby journey. But either one of these guys, I could have
Just going
recorded.
bird watching.
I could have held a microphone up underneath these motherfuckers and just let them roll. And it would be probably better than anything we're going to do here tonight
Yeah,
as far as value on the open market.
I've seen those before. I've seen those. They used to do that a lot in the 90s. Just find that one
Yes,
person with that one thing and just give
yes.
them a microphone and just magic. And you're like,
Your
what the fuck did I just witness?
your upstairs neighbors are fighting. Tape that shit, and then it would float around on cassette tapes at parties for years, and people would shriek with laughter. And I guess a lot of that is podcasts now, but these people, man, they were useless in that motherfucking building except as symbols, like a stick for management to beat people with, or symbols of pity. Like, I'd heard so many monologues from my managers about both these individuals, just like, yeah, well, they have perfect attendance, so what can you do? You can't get rid of them, and shit like this. Like, that it was just this fucking. They'd love to be able to point to that low bar.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
over
yeah.
time, I just kind of started thinking in my own
That's care,
personal
huh?
understand. Yeah, yeah,
They're
that's
showing you
care.
they care.
Yeah, we're taking
Yeah.
care of these guys. If you piss us off, that's different. We're gonna fucking fire you. You're unpredictable. Talk to your fellow employees about how you
We
guys should
love
get
you,
more.
but you don't mean shit. But we
Yeah,
love you.
you're
They're a fucking toxic relationship.
but no, these guys are precious because they always have that one baseline sitting there. And like I
Oh
say,
yeah, those guys are crazy. I
like
love
I
it.
say, the
I
one
love
dude
it.
died.
It's wild.
The one dude died in their care, and the other dude, as far as I know, is still working there. And I told a guy who got fired before I got fired.
Would you
He
do like a
said,
video series of that kind of thing if people send them in?
Absolutely, because this is. I'm convinced this is everywhere. I
Because
told a
everybody
guy,
has cameras on their phone now, and they could just
oh
upload
yes,
it.
there's recordings of all of these guys, I'm sure. And I
I
was
mean, that
always
sounds like
sketchy.
a hashtag kind of thing. You could totally do that.
I was always sketchy about recording those guys at work because I was like, this is wrong or whatever. Like this is like there were
Nah,
some kind of
you're actually it actually ends up being flattering to them because they don't get
yes,
a lot of attention. So,
yes. Like they would totally be into it, and I cannot stress this enough. Like I
but yeah, when
there
you witness some shit like that, go ahead and take a camera out and film it, man, because you don't always know if you'll even remember it really.
no, there's certain parts of it that are seared in. Like, okay, this one part,
Just
like
like,
like I say, 2 or 3 years ago, a guy said, "Man, old so and so is so fucking worthless. Like, they're finally gonna fire him this time for whatever shit he did. He fucking backed a forklift off the
oh
dock
guy,
while looking
oh
at a
boy,
I saw a lady's bra strap and I crashed my forklift. Like just
oh
whatever the fuck he did, okay? And the one dude did have a monologue about how the yoga pants were inappropriate, but then he always talked about the yoga pants. Okay, the Cosby dude. Okay?
yeah,
But
yeah,
like
yeah.
you know which dude. But like so that guy says he's finally going to get fired this time after whatever the incident was. And I say, I don't know. And it all clicked into place for me. I was like, I don't know, man. I bet you and me get fired before he does. And it fucking came true. The dude I was talking to was fired about a year
Yeah.
later, and I was fired at Christmas this year.
Well, that's why they keep him around because he's a long hauler.
Yeah.
That,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
exactly what they want.
Perfect attendance, completely predictable, always there to cane people and shame people with,
I mean,
and
he
make
might
people
drive his
feel
shit off a
pity.
dock one time, but
Yeah. Oh, multiple times.
but at
Oh,
least he shows up.
I don't know what happened. I'm halfway doing the voice. I can't do the voice. I would feel too bad.
It's
All
all
right.
It's
good,
like,
man. It's all good.
All right. Let's bring this home. Now, I already described to you the fucking problem in the mental health bullshit, right?
yeah,
They're fucking formulations on it.
yeah.
Now here's the why, and I'm sure when you hear the why, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, that's right, we're on the communist podcast, duh,
Uh,
right? It's to get you okay with being stolen from being alienated from other people.
oh
It's
yeah,
there
that.
to make you accept it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure. Big finish. Capitalism wants to
yeah,
steal your surplus value and
They
give it
call
to
it that.
capitalists.
yeah. Like I took a bath on I paid a late fee on my credit card, but this motherfucker like doesn't even have a credit card or
They
whatever.
have to.
Yep,
Yeah,
It's funny because they
yep,
have to give you. They have to give you some value to at least rob you,
yep,
right. They have
yep,
to
and
give you a little bit of
they
value.
don't even do that now.
yep.
Well,
I
that's the
had
other
to
point of welfare, isn't it? It's to make sure people that
they're like
extend.
shit. We don't have nothing to rob you of. I mean, we could. What's the taxes? What's the taxes on zero?
Yeah, That's part of the fucking. It's part of the game,
You ever,
isn't it?
you ever see that? Like a robber just walk to the guy, and just start shaking him down, like, "What you got in your pocket?" Like, they're like, "Wait a minute, you have nothing here," and the guy's like, "I know."
Yeah.
Capitalism, it'd be like the robbers, like, okay,
And
you're
they're
gonna
like,
meet
"Give me
me.
all your money," and they'll be like,
You're
"I don't have any money." You're
you're
like,
gonna meet
"Oh."
you're gonna meet me back here every month, and you're gonna give me $5. All right, motherfucker. And then just points the
Hey
gun
man,
at
you
his
got some surplus value on you.
face.
Give me that surplus value.
If you'd have
Nope,
had
nothing
$100,
here.
if you'd had $100, I would have took it. So now you're gonna have to meet me 20 times and give me $5 over the next 6 years,
You know,
motherfucker. I'm amortizing this shit.
you just described Debo. We everybody be happy because we're being ruled by Debo.
Yeah.
Yeah. But nah, I'm telling you right now, it's one of the it's there to make you fucking passive in the theft, right? It's the and it has the side effect is that people who have a genuine injury, i.e., an unhealthy brain, genuinely unhealthy brain, not a personality quote unquote disorder, i.e., a temperament. It's all we used to call that is a temperament.
Like if you were very Cosby-esque, for example.
Yeah, well, uh, hmm.
Well, I mean, I
Remember,
didn't have any.
Cosby did
Nobody
quite
had any.
well under capitalism. All I'm
No,
saying.
nobody came forward. Nobody had any proof. And I mean, this guy was doing fine financially too. But I mean, like,
He was so salty.
yeah, he.
Uh,
I mean, like, it's that same exact thing. You're like, at some point, you're gonna get too old, you're gonna get careless, and you're gonna be in a really terrible situation, and they're gonna liquidate every fucking thing that you have, because I don't know, you just happen to have Rohypnol in your pockets at the fucking fancy dinner party. Like
Or
it's your
they'll make you
prescription.
president.
Yeah, yeah.
Or
Or
they'll
you
make you
just
their leader.
if
you
you
become
don't,
president first.
I have
You're
a bold,
good at it.
I have a bold reason for why Weinstein, Cosby, and fucking Epstein all went down is because it was politically convenient, i.e., it was convenient to the body of capitalism writ large to throw those
Oh
three under
yeah.
the bus.
Oh
Oh
yeah. Somebody
yeah.
got to
That's
go.
it.
Yeah.
That
Somebody got to go. It's going to be unpopular people.
that's why it didn't work with Joe Biden and Donald Trump because it was inconvenient to do it to them ultimately. So you can say whatever you want, but at the end of the fucking day, it's not convenient to throw them under the bus. They are perfect agents of capitalism. But
Yeah.
Weinstein, there's no loss. Frankly, he was probably annoying to work with. On top of the rape. So
Like it's a Hollywood screenwriter finishing the story of sexual abuse in Hollywood with a satisfying final chapter, right? Like they're like, "Oh, all that stuff you've been hearing about? Yeah, it was this guy. Look at him." And then we all saw him and we were like, "Oh shit. It was that guy the whole time. Wow. Look
yeah,
at this fucking Jabba the Hutt villain sex monster." Yeah.
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 But
Unspeakable horror in the corner.
Mhm.
it came from within the capitalism.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's ultimately the point. The point is those people were easy to throw under the bus. There's no cost. There's no cost to throwing them under the bus. So let's just fucking do it.
The strategic ones like stand out. Like
Yeah.
like Al Franken like getting a little too annoying or moving to the left on some issue they didn't like, and they were like, let's bump that motherfucker off. But then it was so weird and unnatural. Like you can tell when their hearts aren't really in it, when it's like it was supposed to be a strategic move. And then you can tell when it is, like you say, just the soul deep down of liberal capitalism just being like pitch, just like it did with Weinstein. It was just like all the forces converged on that motherfucker.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like some weird allegations and then
Well, they're
Gillibrand or
allowed.
whoever was
They're
like,
allowed competition.
yeah,
And they deemed them unworthy.
To a degree, they're allowed competition. Sure. There's degrees on these things. But yeah, that's what you're dealing with here. They're just trying to make you okay with stealing from you.
yeah, oh yeah,
No doubt.
oh yeah, because we would be standing in that fucking plant or the warehouse mostly. This was more warehouse years, the old white dude who passed. We'd be standing in that plant, and me and another younger white dude who was like not a centrist shithead, but not like a Democrat either, really, just kind of like a weird kind of gun rights, kind of leftish guy that I knew over there. Like, he just had all these guns. That was like his main personality characteristic, which I really appreciate. And we'd be standing there talking about how crazy and racist that the old dude was.
It
And
could
we
be
would
worse.
some of these shifts were 12s. Sometimes equipment would shut down. Sometimes there would be no orders for hours at a time. we would riff on this old man while we were having our fucking hours of our lives away from our families exploited by this fucking horrible company. We would sit there and riff on this old man for like shit. If you'd have recorded it, I bet it would have ran for a straight day. I bet you have 24 hours somewhere out there in the ether of me and this dude just pounding this dude's fucking chops for chuckles, while basically to distract us from the fact that yeah, somebody's hand is in our fucking pocket right now. Yeah, the schedule run.
Misdirection, classic.
Yes, yes. And even though we knew it ostensibly, we knew it was, but it was nice to have like this symbol of like, well, it could be worse. We could be this fucking idiot. Like everybody hates him. Everybody thinks he sucks at this, which he does, and he's loathsome, just right there in our face all the fucking time. Like, we would forget about oh, they make the schedule so that you can work 7 days in a row but not get double time because of the way the schedule is. Like we would forget about shit like that. Never think you could change shit like that.
Yeah. That's the goal, man. The goal is to get in your fucking head. The goal is to fuck around in your skull and make you okay with all this bullshit. And like in retrospect, oh yeah, I guess they would want to do that because they don't want to be interrupted in their theft. They are
Yeah. Oh,
robbing.
yeah.
They're
Yeah.
robbing you actively.
I mean, I know I'm just like some old fucking asshole, but like if you're one of our loyal, which I appreciate very much, people that are listening to this and following this, like try it when you're at work. When you're at work and you and the least insane person at your job, and you know who that is, when you and that person are blowing off steam, riffing on these fucking clowns, just like think about it, like maybe that fucking absolute butt of all the jokes is just envision a hand in your pocket. The next time you tell a joke about that motherfucker, just envision a hand in your pocket, just rooting around for your fucking wallet and pinching your butt. Just envision that.
Yeah. No, it's fucked up. I mean, like honestly, it's super fucked up, but it's not like I say fucked up because like I have the communist ethic, right? In reality,
Right.
it's not fucked up. It's actually completely logical. If I were a capitalist, it's exactly what I would want to do. I would want you to just
Yeah.
be carte blanche okay with me robbing you blind. And I would
Yeah.
spend a little bit of money to set up systems that tell you it's your fault that you feel bad about it, right?
Mhm.
They do that in
Mhm.
the
They do
political
it through
sphere.
the tax code.
Oh God, yes.
They would well they do it through the tax code is goddamn right, but they also do it through the libertarians. The libertarians are
Yeah.
perfect
Oh yeah,
mouthpieces for this.
definitely.
Every
Yeah.
dipshit who makes 25K a year and does a little bit of crack cocaine who tells you that the market is the best way to resolve social ills and that their
Yeah.
problems are only their own are fucking wow. They have to keep that person alive.
Yeah. Goddamn. Yeah.
Not
I'm.
not only that, they have to keep that person thinking that. So they have to keep constantly reinforce it. That's why you see all this bullshit about your rights, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which we'll get into that one. We'll get into the fucking that
Your
one
rights and
soon.
your wrongs.
Yeah. But we will get into that motherfucker soon, don't you worry.
What do you think? What do you think? Do you think it comes and goes as pundits are often predicting the shift towards insane libertarians actually holding office more, or do you think there's like a set percentage of libertarians that just comes and goes? Because when I really turn it over in my head, I feel like that every few years you have one or two prominent libertarians pop up, but it's almost like a controlled population. It's almost like if
uh,
a new one gets really powerful, they like Highlander all the juice out of like one of the old ones. The old one just vanishes.
as
Mm,
far if I were to describe the libertarians, it would be something along the lines of either an incel that fucks or somebody who is on the path to becoming an incel, but gets diverted really hardcore by all that talk about freedom and human liberation and shit,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
really just drinks the Kool-Aid about how great everything ought to be, and the fact that their life is miserable is just a simple cost benefit to the overall system. So they
It's
have
a it's a it's a incel with the small amount of confidence required to just buck up and go to a fucking filthy key party with a bunch of gross motherfuckers.
yeah, some of them.
Which they could do any day.
Some of them are that, and then some of the other is imagine a Marxist who like bought into the capitalist lies, because their points are all strangely ours, right? They can't see the devastation as something like that is bad. Like that's the difference. We can make the moral assertion that it's bad based on a series of A,
You
analyses of the situation, and B, an ethics that says we shouldn't be doing this.
you mean
Yeah.
trying to destroy groups of people isn't gonna get you liked? What?
Yeah, they're weirdly immune to that lot. Like, capitalism has eradicated how many people off the face of the fucking earth, right? So they have to immediately, communism killed 50 million people because for some
It's
reason,
okay because I'm rich.
yeah, it's almost, if they were being intellectually honest, they're saying that because they want to preserve the system as is because they benefit from it. But the thing they fooled themselves into, so they're not being dishonest. They really believe it. They have a self-inflicted delusion at that point. Is that, see, the alternatives are bad too, so there's no point in bothering with all the effort to change.
Right. There's no nobody's ever known anything but this. So you can't get any control data from like a communist experiment somewhere, right? Like there's no way for you to check how the communists are doing because they're constantly getting fucked with and fucking corrupted too much by the fucking absolute state of, you know, this shit since coins were minted or whatever, or since before then. I mean,
Well, it
you-
depends on the metric, though. The Chinese the Chinese communist model is certainly not
Boy,
something I would say.
first China of the day.
Well, look, they're winning in this
yeah.
regard. If you're going to be reductive, they're winning. Um,
Didn't they like
They're kicking ass too.
didn't they crack down on fucking play money on crypto? Didn't they crack down on pedophile money? Because if they
yeah,
did,
I mean,
well
yeah, they did.
that's the right decision, right? I mean,
Well,
that's like
they want to make their own though.
Oh, well, okay, yeah.
They're okay with it if they can make it their own.
Okay, yeah. That might be the real strategy is to just
So
emulate the horror of
they're
this.
trying to make like Citibank coin basically.
They're pro some of this shit, but they don't want to be those suckers who are
And then
early
but
adopters.
they'll be surprised why aren't people using this if they did that.
Yeah. Mm.
So they're
yeah,
like, I guess I should leave it open. I don't know.
We gotta keep churning out right wing and libertarian and Republican pedophile Congress people and rich people so that so there's a strong demand for Bitcoin. We really, I mean, we could do a serious pump and dump if we just had like Roger Stone just like teaching kindergartners, like we could do a real pump and dump on Bitcoin in about 20, 30 years.
yeah, yeah. We could. But no, that's what I want to. That's what I wanted to point out. That's the bombs I
There's
wanted
a
to
20,
log.
30 years.
Yeah,
I
think about this
mean,
week.
if you haven't noticed, Florida's going underwater.
Yeah, it's
Right.
looking bad.
But no, if you look at Chinese communism, I'll end on this. If you look at Chinese communism, there are things that are absolutely abhorrent and we should not emulate. There are things they can be criticized rightly for. And there are things that are undeniably, depending on what your stance is, absolutely praiseworthy. If you're a capitalist, they're the ones who, how they'll say like less people than ever live on $1 a day. That's because of China. America is trying to actively reduce wages. They're trying to put more people as close to $1 a day as fucking possible. They're bringing them
Hmm.
down. China's raising them. So the reason your poverty statistics, your beloved poverty statistics even work is because of Chinese economic data. That's the Communist Party of China entering the market and forcing a correction in some manner.
Yeah, like I love like
Well, I
If
mean,
you
we're doing it to ourselves.
Yeah,
yeah, that's the thing. Like
You need education. You need a highly educated, well-fed population. Like this is
you
not
don't
rocket science.
you didn't always need. See, that's a myth too. This notion that everybody has to be college educated or somehow everything's inferior.
They
There
have
are
to be
plenty of
smart enough
people.
to. They have to be smart enough to run a machine.
They have
yeah.
to be educated, but the idea that it has to be specific liberal academia is a capitalist myth.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
And I will
bullshit.
agree to that.
There are plenty of well-read, literate, smart people who do not fit the mold of liberal academia, ergo they don't have credentials. They don't have merit.
I'm just saying that there was a point where there, like when you meant uneducated, you meant fully, you know what I mean? Like
Like
entire, you get like a group, like from in the 1700s or some shit, you get a group and they're just fully uneducated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like Like there's no
Like
base
there's
understanding.
nothing there. There's no base.
You
None.
could
None.
you can be Tom Sawyer or Huck Finn coming up the road
Like
swinging a dead
maybe
cat
they got
around.
elementary school. Maybe.
You
Yeah.
can tell people that you heard that the dead cat cures warts or
But
whatever, and
they're
people will
but they're
believe
li-
you.
but like it seems to me like China is investing in their people and they're having a war on poverty and we're having a war on drugs. And that means you're extracting instead of putting in.
Yeah.
So there's no when you overconsume, there's no surprise that you would start losing. So then you go into more desperate lengths to try to keep it. Hence the bomb throwing,
Yeah.
mind bombs.
I mean it for us three
Yeah.
sitting here right now. For us three sitting here right now, it's all old hat, but
Yeah, this is way old.
it really is though, like it's important to
It's
continue.
foundational though. It is.
Yes, you have to keep tearing it apart, rolling it around in little balls and looking at it because there's just it's a lot, man. It's a lot to get up and go out there every day and to see all these guys that are they're doing all the stuff and they believe in all the stuff that they say is so bad. And it isn't even stuff that a socialist or a communist or a leftist in America wants to do. It is the literal shit that they associate with that idea in their head. Like a guy in Florida who voted for Ron DeSantis. I don't know what the fuck he's doing when Ron DeSantis is writing on a piece of paper that we should go and ask teachers and kids in school what their fucking ideology is. I don't know what those guys think that is, but it's right there every day. It's some kind of weird right-wing authoritarian shit that is exactly a one-for-one match to the type of shit they constantly accuse the fucking left of wanting to do. Or it's guys around here, guys that live near me. They all live in a fucking compound. They have generational wealth, okay? If they're above water at all. If they're not living in an apartment, working at my factory and then driving Grubhub afterwards, okay? They are living on some kind of generational wealth situation, however meager, some kind of secured piece of land. They are packing everybody they are related to that they trust into that motherfucker. They are sharing all of their fucking resources. They're living in little communist compounds. Excuse me. It made me so angry that I just
Yeah, they just
I
take it from the
sneezed.
public and make it private.
I sneezed all this
Yeah.
black goop out onto myself.
Gross.
It's like teeming with like some kind of eldritch humors just came out of my body when I talked about how mad the little compounds that hate communism make me. It's like I feel better having said that.
Well, those are feudal kingdoms. They're emulating the feudal kingdom. They're not emulating communism. You know,
Yeah, I guess so.
to get
I
back
guess
to the
they pick
point,
a guy.
with China, if you look at
They
Maoist
love
thought,
their monarchy.
Maoist thought's
Yeah.
fantastic. Mao went through a number of iterations, everything from a neo fucking feudalist up to and including the winner of communism. If you were to look at all the communists put together, who did the most?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, put it on the big board, yeah.
yeah, Mao and his team. Okay, they won.
Yeah.
Like they're because they're A, they're still around. B, they're still in power. C, the achievements, the actual achievements, are to be laudable,
Yeah.
right? The idea that essentially that a lot of people hate this. A lot of people, I love it. The idea that IP is bullshit. Fucking distribute that shit. Love it. 10
Yeah.
out of 10.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
You know, that's fantastic. You should be distributing that shit freely because it has no value.
If you still can hang, then you can play live or whatever, and people are still gonna like, you're still useful to society. If you wrote a book 40 years ago and then you never wrote any more books, then you know, this is your job. This is where I work. These are the boxes. This is your fucking forklift, and I'm happy to hear that you had a book 40 years ago. But like, it just really seems like I don't know. There's a lot of benefit that comes from having one successful piece of media that you own in perpetuity, and then it just floats around out there, and they just mail checks to your fucking house for the rest of your life or for your children's lives.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot of. I mean, those people are removed from any normal experience at that point. I mean, good God. I mean, like, you could be born to a guy who just had a one-hit wonder in the 70s or 80s or something. Nobody even remembers who he is anymore. But like that motherfucker's on the commercials all the time or some shit. And you're enjoying like for no reason you're enjoying a base level experience that's like People have a debate about a UBI, and you're like, I don't care. I have a UBI. Fuck y'all. Like, my shit is already in the mail. Let's talk about something else. Like, that's bizarre. It's really bizarre, and it's defensible, I think, in some situations, but it shouldn't be as lucrative as it is.
Yeah, it's totally rigged.
Like,
Yeah.
would J.K. Rowling be acting like such an asshole if she was running out of Harry Potter money? I don't think she fucking would. I think she'd think about some things and maybe try to work on herself. Like,
That gets into something different. What is to be done?
Well, she could have like a quarter of her Harry Potter money and chill.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She would
She
be
is a billionaire.
75% less of an asshole.
She's a
She,
billionaire. Oh, she could have 1,000 less,
yeah, literally. I mean, with
1,000 times.
with Miss Rowling, Miss Rowling is a nice subject for a different topic for a different night. What is to be
Yeah,
done?
well,
What do you do with people like that?
I know a couple of people, and if by some bizarre chance here any of you are listening to this, I know a couple of people on Twitter that this is a direct fucking threat. If we ever hit that up, I'm gonna try to drag your ass on this shit because it ain't near as funny or as accurate or as fun to listen to us talk about this shit as it would be to listen to some of y'all talk about this shit because I know that motherfucking lady hurt some of y'all, okay? I knew people growing up that were living the Harry Potter dream, okay? And for that motherfucker to turn around and be like, actually, that's some rough shit, okay?
Oh,
Like,
I'll tell you what, let's end on this one. My favorite J.K. Rowling series of tweets is essentially, well, we're all monogender, so we're all gay, actually.
oh Jesus, that's like Zenny
Imagine.
Jardin level.
Yeah,
That's like Zenny
oh,
Jardin level.
she,
That's like Jennifer Ham.
yeah, no, dude, she proposed that, of course, she proposes the base transphobia. Trans women are men, right?
Right,
So
as you do.
as a defense, she then goes with there's a natural femininity. Then
Hmm.
she goes farther. She then makes the normative claim that we all have that natural femininity. So the construct of woman is a social construct. But
Jesus.
if you extrapolate that logic just a little bit, if we're all then actually women or we're all monogendered, then the nature of sexual attraction, the way we describe those terms, is that everybody has to be gay because we're attracted to another person. There's gay
Yes.
and asexual. Those are the only two sexualities. And she went that far. She went through bi erasure. She went
Yeah.
through turfism. Excuse me. She did a bi erasure to own the turfs.
Yeah, there you go. There you
To
go.
be transphobic, she had to make sure to punch bi people right in the fucking face. And I was like,
Fuck this.
that is a
Fuck this.
bigot. That's
Fuck this.
a
I'm buck breaking all y'all.
yeah, that is a real
Not
ass bigot.
not just black people or some type of people. No, I'm buck breaking everybody. All of y'all.
All right,
Everybody.
there's a shout out to Mended Pixie too. Yeah, I see. I fucking pay attention. I try to pay attention. I'm bad at it, but I try. But yeah, fucking, and you gotta understand, there is a part of me that is perverted enough that when somebody fires off a bigoted hot take like that, um, I revel in the stupidity. I love
Oh
it.
yeah.
I think it's fun. Just give me more. Give me more. I hope to God. I hope to God she goes farther and be like, no, we're actually all men, so there are no lesbians too. I want her to keep going. Go
Yeah.
right on through, go right past bi erasure and fucking punch the lesbians to own the
Yeah.
trans. Please,
Yeah.
please, that would be the funniest fucking shit. Because
Cuz it's
deep down, it's validating that capitalism produces people that stupid and
yes.
gives them that much
Yes.
money.
It keeps the little
That,
fire of yes, it keeps the little fire of hope alive in my heart that someday somebody is going to look at it and be like, "Oh, I see it now. Holy
yeah,
shit. Look
that's
at the fucking
exactly
Harry Potter.
right.
Oh my god. Oh Jesus." Like it keeps
That
that fire of hope alive.
that is my deep hope that someday there's some combination of rich and stupid that fucking triggers enough people that
I
we
honestly
have a
like
basis for solidarity.
I'll be thinking that I see it. Like I'll be thinking that like this is it. Like this is going to pay out big.
Yeah.
And then it'll be a small one. Like to me Falwell's that whole thing doing
Oh, that's
the
just a horny guy. Nah, that wasn't gonna do nothing.
right, but like there was it was completely flat. It was completely flat. They unceremoniously make him stop doing all of his shit and just never really mention it. Like, isn't that what they did? Like they were like, well, maybe you're not as godly as we thought you were, and he was like, okay, good. I'm not anymore. That's a relief. Like,
Jesus Christ. All right, this is. I swear to fuck, no commentary. God damn it, we're
okay,
ending. It's time.
okay.
I gotta go to sleep. Back hurts.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
a
you're
little
right.
bit.
We got to do
What's
that.
that?
I'm
Not a
gonna
little bit of commentary.
I'm
This
gonna
is.
get up early. I'm gonna get up early enough to help that flaming man that I drive by every day on the way to work.
Do it. Now,
He's still there.
this is a fun fact about liberal fetishism. Um, I'm gonna butcher the name probably, but the lady who wrote Twilight fetishized a particular type of person. They are part of the Quileute tribe. I did
Right,
not
right.
say that right. I guarantee it, and I'm sorry.
Has it got
But
an X in it?
if she no, but I
Okay.
feel like there's a pronunciation for that that's more appropriate.
Quaalude tribe.
The Quaalude tribe, the
Yes.
Quaalude tribe, and she could give them $50,000 to each one of them and still
No,
be a
they just call it
multimillionaire.
loot now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Lude tribe, Quaalude. It looks like Quaalude. Quailoita? It's not Quailoita. That's German.
They still screen for that on some drug
Quileute.
tests. Isn't that
I
cute?
Oh, and to be fair, there's about 2,000 of them, and yeah, 50,000 times 2,000 equals. She's probably still a millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
Goddamn capitalism. All right.
Mm-hmm.
This has been the Sons of Trier. We threw some bombs at some of the favorite sons of the left, and God help me, the gods of the fucking liberals. And yeah, I'm Dan. I was joined by Gangstacleese,
Gangsta, gangsta.
and I was joined by the True Horror.
Thanks, you guys. That was delightful.
Oh yeah, we love it, folks. We love it, don't we? Good night. Be safe. I'll probably see you on Twitter. Bye.